these systems were not designed to help you thrive, to help you wake up to your highest potential, to really, really heal, and to know how capable you are of healing and of being your highest vibrational self, your highest potential self. The many, many systems here on earth have been designed and influenced to, in a way, enslave you. And this isn't meant to be like a fear mongering, is that the word? It's not meant to bring on fear for those of you who are here with me. I never want to tap into that energy of fear because that's when you're easily controlled. And that is part of the system, is to make you think that you are not okay and that you are not safe and that you need the protection of these entities that desire power and power over you and power over your life. But maybe you came to earth to shake up that system. Maybe you feel like you just don't fit in because you're not as easily controlled, but in a way that makes you then isolated. By not being so easily controlled, you're the black sheep, and you probably had some experiences, especially in the past few years, where so many people went one way and you went the other way, and everyone's like, you're a conspiracy theorist, you are crazy, you don't know what you're doing, like, you're a danger to society. And then all of the truth started to come out, and you're actually not that. But it's not like people are thinking like, oh, you were right. They're just like, oh, this is how it is now. I guess I didn't need to do that or cut out all those people of my life. Okay, let me continue on with my life. It's like, it's funny, but it's sad. Like, we don't want to be that robotic version of ourselves. We don't want to just listen to other people. Maybe you do want it. I mean, I feel like there's probably a lot of peace in wanting that. You're just like, take me, tell me what's truth and what's not truth, and I will believe you. But my path has not been that. My path has been like, you're all fucking brainwashed. And what are we doing here? This is such a strange planet. And I'm like, did I really want to sign up for this? Why did I have to come down here again? But also at the same time, it's a beautiful planet. It's so wonderful. These wonderful little moments, just like cuddling with my dog, like having my dog in my arms, and he just loves me and I just love him. Or this morning I was just holding Ladybug's giant face, and she's my horse who you guys helped me save, and she's pregnant with baby Chaos, and I was just holding her head. I've been learning how to massage her to help her relieve some of her pain from her condition, her neurological condition. She just like rests her head on me, and it's so heavy. She just like is squishing me, and I'm like, Ladybug, I'm just a small human, but I love you, and I'll try and take it for as long as I can. But these moments are just, they're so precious. And they're so beautiful, and they happen because we get to be here on this planet. And most of the people on this planet don't even realize how precious those moments are because they're so asleep. And the thing that spiked this conversation today is my experience the other day that I shared with you guys at the doctor, the neurologist, because I need to get a brain MRI, which I've known for a long time. I was in a car accident, and there seems to be some structural issues and some blood flow issues within the brain, vascular issues. I had Lyme disease. Lyme often makes issues with vascular stuff as well. Also, Lyme is often misdiagnosed as MS, and so there's possible lesions, which could be old and fine now, but I just need to see it in a scan. And that doctor, because I talked like this and even said words that are only doctor's words, he just wrote me off as crazy and was trying to get me to go down that path of, getting on medication, probably, like going to be told by another doctor that I'm crazy and I need medication. And then all I could see in that appointment was that this doctor was like, I think it's from Harry Potter, those things that come over them and they like suck the life out of them. he felt like that. And with all the gaslighting that he was doing, and just like the things that he was saying and accusing me of, just like running away from my life in California, and trying to avoid my problems. I was like, I love my life in California. I miss it all the time. I try and question how I can have both. Like, everyone knows that. I didn't run away from it. I made a decision because I felt like I was meant to be here too, and that was hard, but I trust myself. And he's like, crazy, crazy, crazy. And so I was just like, wow, he's trying to suck the life out of me. He's trying to trap me in these boxes of medication and of like believing something about myself that is not true. And it's not necessarily his fault, like I said. It's more so the medical system that then conditioned him into treating other patients like this and thinking this way about patients. And like, people are so easily influenced. Like, when you look at, what is the word for this? When you look at like a controversial post, or like a person, for example, like I'm trying to think of a celebrity, but when people start commenting something, then everyone jumps on and they just can't let it go, and then they build on it, and then they can't form their own opinions, and they just all share the same opinion. Like, whatever you think about Trump, it drives me crazy when people here are, and I'm not a Trump supporter, I'm not a Trump supporter, I am just like, this is interesting, and people here will be like, oh, he's a fucking Cheeto, that Cheeto president, like, everyone says it. I'm like, can't you think of something else, like a little more unique? Like, what are your actual opinions on his policies? Like, each individual policy, and then talk about his personality. But you're just saying you don't actually know, and all you've seen are the comments where people say Cheeto man, and then you're like, Cheeto man. And so it's things like that where people just jump on, and then they're easily conditioned, and then they're conditioned in they're so easily controlled because they're not going to sit there and actually question things, like actually question what's going on and what is the truth and where do you stand? Where do you stand when you're not believing what your friends say, your family says, society says, everyone around you is saying? What actually feels true? You probably don't know, either because you've been put down that path of being put on medication that you don't need. And I'm also not anti-medication. Maybe there are some medications that are needed. I know someone here that is a bipolar person and doesn't have the will to get help and change in the ways that maybe holistically could help. And so I personally think that they would benefit from medication for bipolarism. But that's my own take on it, because I can have my own takes, because I take the time to have my own takes. And I didn't always be like that. I wasn't always like that. I was just like in one mindset, and I was like, this is the way we all believe. And it was so much like virtue signaling and so much like ego involved, and people just like, if you go against that, especially if it's in like the virtue signaling world, then like the group won't accept you, and they'll be like, she's crazy, she's a conspiracy theorist, or she's a whatever. And that can be scary, very deeply and primally intuitively, because back in the day when we were operating in this like pack, if you were not accepted by the tribe, then you would die, because you wouldn't have the protection, you wouldn't have the food, you wouldn't have the ability to survive, the shelter. You would be on your own. So not being accepted equals dying, and that is a very deep fear that people don't realize within themselves. And so then they stay just agreeing with everybody and not even taking the time to question what is real and what is not real. And so it just really fucking fires me up, because so often our wonderful little souls of earth will go to get help because they're not feeling well, and then someone with a white coat will tell them what the truth is about them, and they'll say, oh, I'm the problem, oh, I'm crazy, and then they'll give up their free will, and then they give up their power, and then they're medicated, or they're thinking these stories that then become the block to them receiving divine guidance. And then sometimes they can break free on their own, but oftentimes they'll need like a really big event that just shakes them up and brings them to a near-death experience, because that's the only way to connect them to the divine. And I've been there, I've done that, I had that exact experience, not so much the Western allopathic way, I more so went the other way, with holistic holistic medicine. And and treatments and protocols and detoxing. I went detoxing so fucking hard. Like, my life was detoxing. Every day was about detoxing and about, eating a very specific strategy of a diet where it's gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, soy-free, nightshade-free. And I was always doing liver gallbladder cleanse and bi-weekly liver gallbladder cleanse, bi-weekly juice cleanse, binders, kill, bind, flush, all the things, and I had a near-death experience. I really remember going in the hospital. I couldn't move my body. I couldn't speak. I couldn't see straight. I couldn't use my muscles. It was traumatizing. No one could come with me because it was during COVID time. And I was laying there. My IV wasn't put in all the way because I couldn't even tell them. I was like trying to tell them that it was not put in all the way. So that I'm just like laying in this little puddle of blood and looking at my arm, because like that's all I could really do is like change where I was looking. And I was looking at the closed door of the thick glass and looking at my arm, and then I just like kind of gazed off into the ceiling. And then I remember floating up, and I was just like, is that it? Like, that was life? And then I had this conversation with myself, with Source, and I was like, I realize now that I gave up my free will and I was being told how to live and how to heal. And the best I ever felt, the healthiest I ever felt, was when I tapped into my intuition, when I ate only plant-based. And I don't think that that's the only way to do it. I think that your mind is very powerful too, and you can decide what's healthy for you. But at that time, I went only plant-based, only raw, really. I felt so clear, so open. I knew what was for me and what wasn't for me. I didn't have to ask for help. I didn't want, other people to knock me off my path. I was divinely guided to everything that needed to be. And that was my path of healing. And I had that very intense spiritual awakening summer of feeling that way so that I could know the power of our own intuition and the power of following what we're guided to. And then I had that near-death experience of ending up in the hospital after being guided there by my doctor. And I remember being like, wow, okay, when I was on that side, I was like, if I come back, I'm choosing to live life on my own terms. I love my doctor. I'll keep my doctor in my back pocket, but I'm taking my power back. I'm going to ask my body, ask myself what I need. I'm going to work on regulation of the nervous system so that I can fully open up to what is really needed for me, because we can't really receive messages that clearly or even really meditate because the mind can be such monkey brain. If the nervous system's dysregulated, it's really hard to know what's what and what's safe and what's not safe when the nervous system's damaged, because that is your source in your body for telling you when there's actual danger. Which, little side note, little story, this mountain, you can see over there is my van down there. Last night, in the middle of the night, Arlo woke me up, which she doesn't normally do, and he said, can I go outside and dog? And I was like, okay. And I opened the door for him, and I was worried about it because I had a feeling that something was out there. And recently I had a wolf visitor come visit me when I was in my outdoor shower, like a few feet away, and then it growled at me. That was this whole thing. So since then we've been on high alert from wolves here. And so I asked Zima, she's over there, she's the farm guard dog, our guardian, livestock guardian. And so I asked her to go out with him, and then they were gone. I couldn't see anything because it was foggy, but I just heard Arlo sprinting away and he was barking. But he does that when he's trying to play with Zima, and like Zima, I'm assuming, went and chased wolves. So there were probably wolves on the property, and she took after them or went after them, and then Arlo went after her, thinking, oh my god, this is so fun, we're playing a game. And I was like, no. And so I ran out of my van with the flashlight on my phone, in my pajamas, no shoes on, barefoot, ran up this mountain, like calling, screaming for Arlo, and he wasn't responding. It was terrifying. And then finally he came running down the mountain, and Zima must have continued chasing off the wolves. But Arlo is not equipped for chasing off wolves. It probably did help, like the wolves seeing that Zima had backup, but he had no idea what was happening. And when I heard him coming back, and when I saw him coming back, I was like, thank the Lords. But I was then observing when I got back in my van, I was like, wow, thank you, nervous system. Like, I was able to go from survival mode, fight or flight. I was in, I don't know if it would be flight. I was running up the mountain, like probably a mixture of fight and flight because I was ready to fight these wolves barefoot, barehanded, to the ground. I was gonna like rip them to pieces if they were hurting Arlo. Like I love animals, but he is the light of my world. He is my child. And so yeah, I was in full on fight or flight, and then got back in my van and my nervous system was like, we're safe. And quickly snapped into we're safe. Not completely. Like my HRV was still pretty messed up that night. Last night, like I'm pretty tired from that experience. But back in the day when I was very, very sick, it would have stayed in fight or flight for a very long time with rapid heart rate. My body like would have a hard time calming down and knowing that the threat is gone. And so often that's what's happening is we're stuck in fight or flight and we don't know the difference between an email and a tiger chasing us or wolves chasing our dog. Like, so you have the tools. The tools are within you, and you will be guided to exactly what it is that you need in order to heal, in order to live the life that you desire. You just need to take your power back. Don't let this system trap you in a little brainwashy box and you think that you're small and crazy and not capable. You can literally have anything that you want because you already have everything that you want. You already are the version of you that you want to be. Within the quantum field, there are infinite timelines. There are infinite versions of you, and you don't have to live like this anymore. You don't have to live on someone else's terms. You don't have to believe these stories that it's hard to live the life that you want. It's hard to make money. Some people make money, but I don't. Money doesn't grow in trees. It's hard for me to heal because I have this incurable disease. It's hard for me to blah, blah, blah. You can have it all. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter what you're going through. Trust me, you can have it all. There are people, if you don't believe me, go find evidence. Go find evidence because it's there. There are incredible stories of everyone doing something that you're trying to do. So when I think about my brain scan that I need to get, and I'm like, okay, well, what happens if there's an issue with my spine? What happens if there's an issue with my brainstem, or if there's an issue with my brain and I need surgery, or, you know, they're telling me it's incurable, or they don't find the answer and I still have to keep searching. I was like, what happens then? I was like, well, it's all part of my path. Like, this is meant to be happening. It's not like this would be happening if it wasn't meant to be happening. I know that this is happening for me. When I look at people, giving my brain evidence, when I look at people like Joe Dispenza, he had an issue with his spine. He was told that he had to get the surgery. He was most likely going to be paralyzed, but then he was downloaded with exactly what to do, and he followed it, and he healed, and he walks just fine, and he travels the world teaching people how to change their life by doing exactly what he did. He's a pioneer because he trusted himself, and he didn't give his power away and listen to the doctor saying that he was going to probably be paralyzed. If you are told you have 4 months to live, so many people are like, oh, I have 4 months to live. But so many people are also like, no, fuck that. That's bullshit. I'm going to live my life. And as long as I want, and then they live for 10, 20, 50 years. I don't know, 50. I don't know. There's so many wonderful stories out there. If you need evidence, give your mind evidence. That's how you expand, and that's how you challenge your thoughts and your beliefs, and that's how you change. You need to give your mind evidence, and you need to learn what it feels like to be the version of you who you want to be. And then you will vibrate at that, and you will call it towards you. And you have to face the parts of yourself that are holding you back. And that also might be a part of yourself, might be a manifestation of a doctor telling you these things. That doctor that I saw the other day, he was just a manifestation of something within my field, challenging me to say, what do I feel about this pattern? And I said, that pattern's bullshit. And he's a fucking liar, psychopath himself. I'm not the psychopath. I was like, I just want a brain scan. And he wants to trap me in this world of medication and tell me that I'm crazy and tell me that I, don't know what I'm talking about because I maybe challenged his ego by knowing a few things about my body. So, today's the full moon. Maybe that's why I'm a little spicy. I was thinking that too last night. I was like, wolves, everything on the farm's going crazy. Like when I got out of the van to let Arlo out, the roosters were going crazy. Roosters are really good at sensing when there is a threat and a danger nearby. They did that last time when we found the wolves on the farm. And so I heard them going off. And then when I got back in the van, I was like, oh gosh, it's a full moon. We have a lot of tense energy coming, not tense, but intense. Like, I love full moons. This is the time for letting go. So what are you letting go of? I'm going to let go of anything and anyone that ever tries to fucking control me or tell me who I am or what I can do with my life, because I am the only person that knows my highest potential, and it's even higher than I know. It's even better than I know. And that's the thing that you have to accept as well, and also put into your whatever you do, your practices, your mantras, whatever. It's like, when I choose something, when I choose a timeline for me, I say, I choose this or whatever is for my highest good. Allow it to be better than I could have ever imagined. Thank you, and so it is. I let go of everything holding me back from living in my highest potential. Thank you, and so it is. I surrender everything that is not the truth. I surrender all illusions. Thank you, and so it is. I see through the eyes of God. I see everything through the lens of God. Thank you, and so it is. And so you get to choose how you live your life. You get to see how you see things, choose how you see things. And you can choose to be in that system of being told what is and what isn't, so that it can feel safe and protected and all of that. And I completely understand that. I completely understand why people do that. Like I said, it probably is nice, and maybe, you know, it would be more peaceful, but my experience just cannot be like that. I've never been able to be like that, and I think that if you're here with me, you're probably the same. You probably came here to Earth to challenge the way that things are, to challenge other people. And when you live like this and you live in your truth and you choose not to go down that path of being controlled by others and being told what is and what isn't, you are going to trigger the shit out of people, and people are going to look at you and be like, you're crazy, you're you know, you're unsafe, you're blah blah blah, because you're probably very unfamiliar. They're probably used to people being one way, kind of like controlled, brainwashed way, and then you come here and you're like, boom, light, truth, I'm bringing light to all your shadows and all the ways that you've been in illusion. And then they're like, you're the problem. And then you're like, no, I know myself, all is well, peace and love, I'll see you in the next timeline. Okay, I'm gonna go take a chill pill and work with Indy. I think that would be fun if I made a little series maybe on Indy. Indy is a new rescue horse here who is meant to be my horse, and so I can go on this journey with him of hopefully healing his trauma. So he has trauma because he was beat really severely in Bulgaria. When they would do his back feet, the farrier would be really aggressive with him. So he has to be sedated right now when he gets his feet done. But even just putting a halter on, like, I can't really get near him to put a halter on him. And so I think at first when I was like, oh, I'm getting a new horse, I was like, this is great. And then I was like, shit, I can't even touch him. And now I'm like, wow, this is a wonderful opportunity, because I know that when he learns to trust me, it will be incredible. And when we can go ride together, and the day that I can touch his feet will be so worth it. And so I'm excited to go see where we're at today, and if he'll let me put a halter on so that I can take him to go groom him, I will let you guys know. It's really nice, like, getting to have that bond with Ladybug, because she's not as traumatized as him, but she, especially being pregnant and being in so much pain right now from her condition, she can be very not trusting, and she bit the shit out of my leg recently, and so we're building that bond again. But when I was holding her head today and she was asking for massages, I was just like, this is so special to have this bond. Like, she doesn't do this with anyone else. I was like, this is it. This is what we build towards. And with even Duchess, my little cat, she wouldn't let me hold her before, and now every time I sit down, she is like, please let me sit on you, let me sit on your chest, let me sit on your lap, let me cuddle with you. And like, it's really annoying sometimes, but I love that we built that relationship and that trust, and that she looks to me for safety, because we've wired that in. And so much of this is just brain retraining. And so, like, right now what I'm going to go do is fire those neurons together with Indy, that I equal safety, I equal delicious carrot, I equal, you know, love and affection, like how good it feels to have the brushing his hair, and, you know, just even standing with him and not hurting him. I'm going to wire in that I don't hurt him. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful life with beautiful, beautiful experiences. I can't believe that I get to do this for a living, and that I, not even like for a living, I make a living online, and in passive ways, and I get to spend my time working with these horses and just being on the farm and being with community. I think that's another beautiful thing that I've just been feeling so safe in, is that, you know, if I did need to get surgery or take some time to rest, depending on what comes up in the scan, then it's so nice that I have community here and people who will support me in whatever I need. And that is like a really beautiful, beautiful thing, because I didn't always have that when I was in my younger years trying to figure it out. And in order to connect with community, really, you don't have to, but I find that when you connect with yourself and you know yourself and you accept yourself, you then start to attract those people into your life who will accept you too and will love you for who you are. And so it starts with you. It starts with how you see yourself. It starts with how you know your truth. It starts with you waking up to what you want to be doing, the life that you want to be living. Those people and those experiences are all on the life path that you've been called to living. And so if you've been holding yourself back from it, you're holding yourself back from that desire, that life path, but also everything else that comes with it. When you start to make momentum towards that thing that you really want, everything else starts falling into place for you too. The answers for your health, the money, the love, the friendships, the community, the travel, the freedom, and the creativity, and the space to just be who you want to be. So you've got this. You are on the right path. You are exactly where you are meant to be in this exact moment. And you don't have to think that there's anything that you need to change about yourself. It's really just letting go of the parts that have been convincing you of something that is not yourself. And so it's not that you are changing, it's that you are remembering. You are remembering the truth of who you are so that you can get what you want. So, with all that being said, if you would like to sign up for one of my programs, I have 21 days to rewire your mind, all about rewiring your mind, healing your nervous system, and stepping into your chosen timeline. 21 days to know your divine guidance, which is all about learning the language of your angels and guides, your intuition, your higher self, making choices and decisions from that inner guidance. You can have any conversation that you want and be like, is this what I want? Is this what I should do? Is this the outfit I should wear today? Is this the date I should go on? Blah, blah, blah. And decondition, we are on week 7 right now. And so you can sign up at any time. And it's a 12-week program all about what we talk about on this channel, which is deconditioning your mind so that you can remember the truth of who you are and get what you want. It's my most powerful program because it is so intensive and so long. Like, it is a perfect amount of time to really decondition your mind, because that with brain retraining and neuroplasticity, it takes consistency and repetition to fire together these new neurons and to, alchemize the parts of ourselves that have been holding us back. So I also have currently still, I don't know for how much longer, past life regression, which is just an individual meditation that is from decondition, but I made that available because it was requested. So you can purchase that on its own, and you can do that anytime. You can download it and have it forever. One-on-one, if you want to work one-on-one with me as well, that is linked below. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.